body, got that, got that body, got that, got that body, got that, got that body, 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 got that, got that body, got that, got that body, got that, got that body.
Good night. So like I told you guys last week, I'll be back and I'm back. And I'm Shamika Swift and this is Whispers. Now tonight and Mother's Day is coming up. Mother's Day is coming up and I want to touch on a controversial topic. The topic is abortion and how it affects women mentally, physically, and socially. First of all, what's abortion? Abortion basically is the removal of a fetus before it has prematured in in the belly. Alright? Now, we gotta talk about why. Like the why is the most important thing. And one of the reasons why females choose abortion because it should be a choice. I feel like it should be a choice. And so when you make that choice, you're basically saying you are for choice, right? So there's an argument that women should be in control of their bodies. They should be in control of their bodies. They should have the right to do whatever they feel when it comes to their bodies. And I agree with that to an extent. I agree with it to an extent. And the reason why I say to an extent is because there are some circumstances where abortion becomes the first choice that females want to when they get pregnant. Whether it's by we say accident, but I mean, do we really get pregnant by accident? I don't think adults, especially if you're an adult, we get pregnant by accident. We make a choice to have sex, and if we don't protect ourselves, we know that we leave ourselves open to anything, and pregnancy is a result of that anything. You made a choice to not protect yourself, and so there's consequences. Well, the consequences, viruses, STDs, HIV, and most important, pregnancy. No, I have to kind of dig into my reason for saying to an extent, because I know firsthand the effect that having abortion, especially at a young age, does to a female, right? It affects her mentally, it affects her physically, right? And it affects her socially. And for the mental, especially if you are young and you are fragile, it kind of weighs on you. Especially if you grow up in a Christian home, you grow up in a Christian home, and you don't really, you feel pressured, and there is, let me see, what's the word? You feel pressured into doing the righteous thing. But I understand why. I understand why people do abortion. They're not ready for a family. They're not ready. The male is not ready for a relationship sometimes. The female may not be ready either. And also, there's one very important reason why I would totally agree with abortion: rape, incest, right? And rape is one of the main reasons why a lot of places allow abortions, right? Now, there's a case in the United States right now. Mainly, it happened in Texas. Now, I'm gonna kind of give a little bit of the facts about the case. It's very, mm, it's in the media right now. It's hot in the media right now. People basically talking about um people who are pro-abortion and people who are anti-abortion. There's lots of different um voices going on. You know, as I would say, there's lots of different whispers going on, and so I feel coming on to Mother's Day, this would be a good topic for us to discuss abortion. So the case in the United States right now, we know it as, or some of us may know it as Wade v. Roe, and it happened in 1973 in Texas. And that case was, there was a lady. She had two children prior, and she got pregnant. And where she lived in Texas, they didn't allow her. They didn't have abortions legal, right? And so she wanted that option of aborting her child, or her unborn child, fetus. And so she got a lawyer and she sued the government. And it was played out, you know, because in their constitution they have a right to privacy, you know? But there also was this thing where even though you have your right to privacy, it's still not, your right to privacy isn't definite. Right? It's not definite in terms of there are like different paths to it. It's not straightforward. It's not straightforward. So basically, that case was the beginning of, it was the beginning of basically a win to, a win for some feminists and pro-life and pro-choice people, right? And so that case basically catapulted women's right to abort, because in that case, the lady won. She won that case based on the constitutional right to privacy. So yeah, so she won, and but even though she won, she didn't have the abortion. And so I was following the case where her baby, who is now a grown woman, she was basically talking about her experience growing up and stuff, because her mother didn't really want to raise children, and so she gave that baby to next family member to raise. So I was following the case, and the baby was talking, well, she was known as Baby Ro. Now the lady, she didn't use her real name, she used a pseudonym, Ro. And so the lady, because she's a big woman now, she was talking about how it affected her life, and she tried not to let it affect her, even though it may have. When she grew up, like when she was 18, her mother reached out to her, and she thought it was a moment for them to connect and whatever. But I guess her mother basically used her. Mother basically used her for social media and money, and she carries that still. She says she doesn't talk to her mother. She cannot forgive her, and she doesn't want to be a part of the conversation. She doesn't want to be a part of the conversation, right? Why? Because she feels like if she sides with people who are against abortion, they're gonna come against her. If she sides with those for abortion, it's gonna be, the same thing. They're gonna against her. So she remains neutral, or basically not a part of it at all. Right? How do I feel about abortion? How do I feel about abortion? I basically have different views on abortion. I'm not against it. I understand why people would do it, but I don't feel like it should be used as contraceptive. I don't feel like if you get pregnant, the minute you get pregnant, you run and take a pill, because, like I said, it messes you up physically. Those abortion pills, even the procedures, sometimes they affect your body. And then when you really want to have children, you find that you have so many complications. You have so many complications, and because you want, now you are an adult and you are able to think. You are able to think and see things differently. You want to have a baby and you can't, and so it's affecting you mentally. And so that I think that when you choose to go to this case of abortion, you have to consider all the different consequences that come with it, not just the good. Not just, I got pregnant, I don't really want it, and I would be able to live my young life. That's one of the good. Or you will be able to continue school. That's a good. However, when you do these things, you gotta consider all of the options. In some cases, it is abused. It is abused. I just, for me, I'm not against it, but I just feel like it should be a last resort, especially the if it's not a case of rape or incest, as I said before, you know. So if it's not a case of rape or incest, some people abort for financial reasons too, right? However, sometimes that baby, when delivered, it changes your life. You know, he or she can be the reason why you change your life, and so that's something that you need to think about. And also, let's touch on the issue of mental. Now, we live in a, well, in St. Kitts, there is a stigma. There's a stigma attached that I know of, and I mean, it's not just St. Kitts, it's basically the whole world. And I agree that what you do should be what you do. Things done in private should be kept in private. However, if you have a need to speak out about maybe having an abortion, even in conversations with friends, during discussions or whatever, you have conversations, and in conversation it comes out that yeah, I had an abortion, I don't think the stigma attached to abortion is very, 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 very draining. It is demoralizing, and it is only a choice that a woman can make. It's not for the man, it's not for a next female, it's a choice that a female has to make for herself. Because guess what? It can only affect you. And so sometimes you have to think about you and not other than what society may think. Even though society plays a big part in how we think and think the things that we do. It's important to remember that 1 in 4 women had an abortion. Correct. 1 in 4 women, and that's a large percentage. And I am not the one to argue that you shouldn't have abortion, because it should be a choice, right? Just like everything else in life, and we have, as human beings, we have rights, right? It is more common than we think. Yes, it is. It is. There's a whole market for it. But that's the thing. In some cases, not in some cases, in most places, it is illegal. It's illegal to have abortion, but in some circumstances. And I think the law with Roe versus Wade, it was in that case. I think that after the lady won the case, it was then deemed that you can abort children, but you cannot abort after the third trimester. The third trimester, you can abort the first trimester, and that in some cases, the second trimester, they give you, it needs a doctor's opinion. For the third one, once it's health reasons, then it's legal. As common as what Rwanda says, what Edivant says, as common as it is, and even though it's our right, make sure you take some time to encourage safe sexual practices. Yes, correct. And like saying before, sometimes when we have sex, adults, when adults have sex, and when we don't use protection, we gotta think of the consequences and remember that we have to live with those consequences, right? And so, if you know you're not ready for a child, and I'm guessing you would know your financial situation, you would know your maturity level, if you're ready for a child or not, and so protect yourself always because it's not just babies out there. It's things that we sometimes don't have. Well, there are some things that don't have cures, and so prevention is better than a cure. Sometimes there's no cure. Abortion is too often used as birth control. We have to do better. Correct. That's correct. Um, Somebody said earlier that it affects the male as well, and it does because basically because it's the woman's bodies, and sometimes you're in a relationship with a guy, and you get pregnant. Mine, you're in a relationship. You probably have spoken about having children before, but in your mind you're not ready. But you get pregnant because maybe one day you slipped and you didn't use protection or you didn't take your pill, and you don't want it. You're not ready for a baby, and so you took it upon yourself and you have had an abortion. You didn't consult your partner, and I think that's how it affects the male. The consultation part. When you don't consult your partner, especially if you're in a committed relationship, whether it's your fiance or your husband, those and when you get married, I think that those kind of choices shouldn't just be on the female, it should be on both of you. Right? I mean, when you're married, you no longer one, you're two. So I think, yes. Abortion is too often used as birth control. Yes, I said that. We said this earlier. I don't think that we should every like we have sex and we keep having sex unprotected and we get pregnant and then our first choice is to have an abortion, take the pill. Uh, I don't really know the procedure. I've heard about it, but like I said before, it affects your body, especially if you do it at a young age. And when we're young, we make mistakes. We make some choices that we do, and we don't think about the consequences in the long run. So we gotta think about all of that. And also, the social. I was talking about the stigma attached to abortion, and they're in songs. We hear about these songs that are being sung on ladies who do have abortion. You can't walk in a cemetery, and people people throw words at you, try to make you feel bad about the choice that you made. You know, um, you know, walk in the cemetery and those kind of things. Should a wife be able to get an abortion without the husband? To be honest, a woman should be able to do whatever she wants with her body. However, I feel like when you make a choice, those kind of choices, you should at least discuss it with your partner. Let him know that where you are mentally. Let him know that you're not ready and those kind of things. So that he can prepare himself also. Because sometimes this man is with you for a long time, he loves you and he wants a part of you. And he feels that a baby would, make a difference. And you basically rip that from him. So the female, your body, your choice. However, just tell your partner about it. Not you don't need his yes or no. You just need to tell him. Make it a part of the conversation. All right. What you said, I think it should ultimately be up to the women. Men have not been proving themselves. However, I think there should be a discussion. If it were legal, maybe men could take women to the court before the abortion to tie the man to the responsibility of the child. All right. And this is a good observation when it comes to the court system, because it goes both ways. Because ladies, we want the choice. Well, we have the choice, but we want the right. We want our cake and we want to eat it also. Because if you get pregnant for a man and that man doesn't want the responsibility of a child, he doesn't have a choice. He doesn't have a choice in you bringing that child or not, right? Whether he's ready or not, he has to accept it if you choose to bring that child, right? And so you take him to court, it's kind of imbalance. It's kind of imbalance in with respect to the male, you know. So yeah, it's kind of imbalance, and that's a hard discussion. It's a hard discussion, because um the male. I mean, we females can't tell the male what to do with their bodies. We try, but ultimately, it's not. We can't do anything about what a man does to his body. However, I feel like if you're in a committed relationship, if you are married, there should be a discussion. All right, the choice is yours, females. I feel like it's your body, your choice. You know, but yeah, have that discussion with him. Don't leave him. Don't leave him in the dark. Don't make him feel like he doesn't have a say. He doesn't have a say. I mean, the choice is still gonna be yours. Just make him feel, yeah. Ray Vance says husbands and wives should discuss everything. A wife shouldn't do that. But I hope both of them know in advance if they want children. Then avoid having to end up there. Condoms in marriage and fun, but there are so many other means of avoidance. I am shouting family planning. All right. So Roy Vance, she's basically saying, even though she's saying that husbands, wives, females, when it comes to abortion, making those critical decisions that affect both of your relationship, discussion should be a part of it. Ultimately, a discussion needs to be had about children, especially when you are married. When is the right time to get babies? And that's what family planning is, choosing the right time for a family, right? And so I'm gonna go back to the case of Wade Zero, because that no, there was an appeal. There was an appeal to the case, and so the case was going to be appealed so that abortions could be illegal all over, also Texas. However, it wasn't overturned. It remains as is, and so females, even though it's they still have a little up and down. We ultimately have the choice to make, right? But my advice is be mindful of your choice when it comes to abortion. As I said, like as someone said earlier, when you use it as when you use it irresponsibly, you that you resort to being pregnant, aborting, it damages your body. It weighs down your body, and you got to remember that we are humans, and there's only so much that our bodies can take. Putting those foreign objects in our bodies, it must affect us psychologically, right? So the legal aspect here in Saint Kitts, it's illegal for women to have abortion. However, we all know we all know that abortions are being done, you know, and I was reading today about I mean, even though abortion is illegal in a lot of places, the abortion rate hasn't dropped. It hasn't dropped. It has actually increased. It has increased like a lot. It's increased a lot, and so the feminist the feminist movement who are very for abortion, meaning it's a woman's choice to do with what she wants with her body. Um, Ira says baby can be adoption. Baby can be adoption. What does that mean? Oh yes. Um, that's the thing. When you are young and you have your nice sexy body, that's one of the reasons why a lot of young people don't want children, because especially if they are very critical of their body shapes and love their body, and they don't want their body shapes to change. They don't want to carry a child and go through and their bodies go through that change. But giving up that baby for adoption can be a choice as well. And mm, in some places where like China, I'm not sure if they still have that one child law. I'm not sure if they do. Okay, but in some places where the population is very large, they have limit the number of children that a female can have. Now, suppose you are in like a country like Saint Kitts that the government imposes laws or restrictions like these. How would we feel? You know, meaning, you can have more than two children, and but the argument there would be, it's my body, right? It's my choice. Unless the government is providing for those children, then the argument would change, because we don't in think we don't have we don't have a welfare system that um basically gives you money for children. We don't get money for children. What we get, some people get a little help or two, and Roy Devine says that adoption is not anonymous and realistic in our part of the world. Next thing, the growing up seeing me, hating me while I'm living my best childless life, thinking I abandoned him or her. I'm going to reread that. Adoption is not anonymous and realistic in our part of the world, correct? Next thing, the growing up seeing me, hating me while I'm living my best childless life, thinking I abandoned him or her. Alright. So what is basically saying that and yet it's true, because guess what? somebody have an abortion and it's supposed to be confidential, but yet everybody who knows you and who even don't know you knows that you had an abortion because there is no confidentiality in our system. There's no confidentiality in our system, and even amongst our own friends. You tell your friends certain things in privacy and confidentiality, and next thing you know, the whole world knows you had an abortion, and because of the stigma attached to it, you are chastised and pushed aside and basically treated like an outcast in society. You know, I think we have to first understand that the choices that people make that affect their lives doesn't have anything to do with us. And she also said that yes, sometimes we have this thing when we see people, young people, not and they haven't gotten pregnant, they don't have children. The first thing we say to them, when you go get a child, oh, go get a child, oh, you need a child. Everybody doesn't want children, and that's acceptable. That's understandable. Everybody doesn't have to want a child. There are people who grew up in large families who just genuinely does not want children because they feel like they have their own personal reasons why they don't want children, and that's their choice. So when you see these young people having fun, enjoying their young lives, please stop telling them to have a child. Right? If they wanted a child, they would have. I guess they would have had one or two already. And also maybe they are what we call family planning. They have already stipulated as part of their growth that when I'm 35 and I have achieved this, such as I have my own home, I have a car, I am making this amount of money, I am financially stable, I can now have children, and so that's their choice. We have to respect people's choices. We have to respect people's choices and stop taking on people's problems as our own, right? Yes, you can be a shoulder for someone to lean on, because when you go through that is very traumatizing. What they went through and how they are feeling about it. Don't criticize them and chastise them and watch them bad and laugh and call them names. Guys, we have males there. You have a problem, and I have noticed it amongst my peers and even people who are older than me, that we bring down the ladies. You know, we we call them the worst of names based on the things that they did. Stop it. Alright? You don't know the reason why. You don't know the reason why. You don't have to know the reason why, because guess what? It's not your business. Alright? So the next thing I wanted to touch on was I touched a little bit on the social, but we have this thing, and it's like we have to be a little bit more sympathetic and empathetic to people. We don't love people anymore, and that's one of the reasons why our society is breaking down, our families are breaking down. We don't love, we don't love, we don't know how to love, right? And so we dig people in a wound that we know haven't healed. We dig people in the worst way. And we need to stop it. Um, and next, I was saying now, the social. There's lots of songs. There's lots of songs. When you go to the clubs, when you go to events, those songs play. Um, the song I mentioned earlier. You can walk in a cemetery, say whoa, and them kind of things there. And guess what? Those kind of things sell because people like controversy. People like the drama, and so people are attracted to it, and so it would sell. However, ladies, when you go to the clubs, in order for basically, sometimes you gotta stand up. Sometimes you gotta stand up for other females. Sometimes you gotta stand up for other females because we are females too, and we don't know if at any point we can be in that position. Understand? I'm not, and I'm not knock on wood that doesn't happen to me and it doesn't happen to you or anybody. But rape, we don't have control over that, and we get raped, and most times when you are raped, the man is not protected, and so there's a possibility that you may get pregnant. But in some places, when you get raped, they basically do a DNC, which is a clean out. But sometimes, because rape itself is a conversation that carries stigma with it, people hide the fact that they were raped, right? And they don't speak about it, and so they pretend it didn't happen, and they curl up and they curl up in a ball and they say to themselves and they suffer mentally, and they don't realize that they may have gotten pregnant, right? And so when that happens, what's the first thing that they do? They try and get an abortion because first of all, there's this thing. You don't want to see your attacker's face in the face of your baby. We don't want that, right? That's something that is traumatizing, and it would have consequences and effects on the baby as well if that baby comes born, right? Because you look at that baby, and how can you love? How can you? I mean, some people could, but how can you love a baby that was a result of a rape? Understand? And so I think that there are some circumstances where abortion abortions could be accepted and legal, right? Ira says they hurt. They hurt. I don't. Who hurt? The women, they hurt. Yeah. Yes, of course, women hurt because rape itself is a traumatizing thing for anybody because males get raped too, right? Well, they said that males can be raped. Just the males can be raped. Ladies, if a man tells you no, it means no. All right, don't force yourself on him. Do not try and tempt him. He said no. Respect it. All right, because guess what? If he does it to you, you want the same you want the same thing in return, alright? So ladies, males, you know, respect people's choices. And I want I wanna touch on that is not really a topic, but as I said earlier in my introduction, Mother's Day is coming up. Lots of us are mothers. Lots of us are mothers, and there are some of us who are not biological mothers, but you are a mother to many. And so I want to reach out and say to you, Happy Mother's Day when it comes, and you know, as a mother, you know that being a mother is not easy. Being a parent is not easy, and there are lots of things that we as mothers have to do and do. Not sometimes not because we want to, but because we have to. You know, when you become a mother, I feel like your life should change. Your life should change, and not just for not and not for the worse. It should change for the better. Because now you not only have yourself to love, you have somebody to love and somebody who loves you. And um, when like okay, you be me personally, I became a mother in school. I was a teenage mother, and you know choices were made, and I brought my son into the world, and high school, going to school with a baby, abortion, abortion. It was a choice. There was an option of abortion. There was the option of aborting. However, that choice wasn't made. You know, and so as a teenage mother, I went to school. I tried my very best to bring my son up, and he's now 14, and I contribute a lot of who I am to him because before I got pregnant, I was no, I was spiraling and going down a path that that most people would say wasn't for me. And so when he came, things changed. My thinking changed. Roy Devon says motherhood is the toughest and most rewarding job out there, and it is. You know. Um, and sometimes when women sometimes women say in frustration, and it's understandable that they just want time away from their children. And guess what? It's not that we don't love our children, but sometimes we just want time away from them because we have to remind ourselves that we are a person too. Understand? So don't bash us when you see us outside having fun with our children. Don't bash us. Don't ask us for the children either. Love us. Let us enjoy our little break because sometimes even when we're out enjoying ourselves, we're not really enjoying ourselves because our minds are still on those babies. Our minds are on. I wonder if he ate. What is he doing? What those kind of things. Go back to my story. But yes, my my story and my experience was, you know, I honestly don't like talking about it, but for I don't like talking about it because there are things about that situation that still has an effect on me. However, you know, I got pregnant in school. I was in Fort Farm. I got pregnant. Um, I wasn't with the father, and we had broken up, and he was living his life, and here I am, a young girl going to school, and mm, go in school, and then my mother was also a teenage mother. It's not my story to tell, but yes, so I am a result of a teenage pregnancy also, and I got pregnant in school. I went back to school when I got pregnant after I got my baby, and let me say that let me say first and foremost that my choice to have my child, my firstborn son, was I don't regret it at all. I don't regret it. I don't regret not 1 second. And people would ask you, would if you had to do it over again, would you? And to be honest, and I am being completely honest, yes I will. Yes I would. I would go back and have him 100 times better. The reason why, like I said before, I was I was lost. I was lost. I was going down a path that would have either gotten me, I don't, gotten me where I don't want to picture it. Like I feel like I would have been something bad. Like yeah. So I went back to school before I got pregnant. Before I got pregnant, I re- I was in fourth form when I got pregnant, and when I got my results from the exams, I got a demotion. I was in A2 from first form, 1A2, 2A2, 3A2, 4A2, and when it was time to go to fifth form, I got demoted. I was going to be demoted. I was gonna go to 5A4, and that was the last level in our farm, and it was an eye opener for me. I wanted to drop out of school. I wanted to look work and those kind of things. I just wanted to be free of school and whatever. But then I got pregnant. Or I realized I was pregnant, and I went back to school with the encouragement of my cousins and my aunts and some other people who were in my circle. They encouraged me to go back to school, and I went back to school, and it was very difficult. It was very difficult, you know, because my parents are not financially there, and so I didn't have the help, and so I had to, I'm going back to school. I have the baby needs, babysitting while I'm at school and stuff, and I had to sacrifice my teenage years, and it was a good sacrifice. Don't get me wrong, and I did all of that, and I'm here to say now, even though there are ups and downs, my son, he's healthy, he's active, he's alive, he's well. You know, he changed my life. I was able to go back to school, got a couple subjects. I end up went to college, started teaching, and now I am here to give you some of my life story. So I have a story to tell. I I told it. So yeah, if the choice was made for me to have an abortion, because I don't feel at that point in time I felt like I was made to feel like I'm letting down the people who thought better of me, because I don't know if I realize, but I'm very intelligent at times, and You know, I had, well, and they felt like I had potential. I could make something of myself, you know, coming from a poor family and those kind of things. So, yeah, there was this thing that I feel I was letting down, you know, the community, my family, my friends, my, yeah. So, but like I said, nobody knew what I was going through mentally at that period in my life. And if I had made the choice to, you know, have the abortion, I don't think I would be where I am today. And I have come far, you know. I have overcome a lot of obstacles, you know. Yeah. So yeah, ladies, your body, your choice, your body, your choice. Be responsible. Be responsible in terms of know the effects and the know the effects of and the consequences of the choices that you make, that you made. You know, because it's not just good. There's not just good results. There are bad. There are bad also. You know, they are also bad, and you don't want a choice you made affect you in the long run, right? So be mindful and be careful of the choice you made when it comes to abortion. It's your body, your choice. However, my advice to you is to be careful, be responsible. Don't use abortion as a contraceptive. Understand? So I think I exhausted the topic, you know. And so once again, I'm going to wish you guys a happy Mother's Day on Sunday when it comes, and I wish you all the best, mothers, biological. Even though you're not biological, even though you may not be a biological mother, but you are a mother, especially if you are a mother to children who don't have that mother figure. All right. So, yes.